Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's session. My name is Danny, and I'm the event planner for the New York Reactor Space. Before we start, I have a few things to go over. Please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We seek to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. We encourage engagement in the chat, but please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional, and on topic. Useful links will be shared in the chat. The session is recorded and will be available on demand 24 to 48 hours on the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel. Which brings us to today's session. It'll run for approximately 1 hour with time for questions throughout. I will now turn it over to our speaker for introductions.
My session today at Microsoft Reactor. And it's an honor to have this opportunity to share this Microsoft Ignite replay for a theater session that I delivered last November in Chicago. And it's developing cloud native Azure Functions and Azure Container Apps. So I had the opportunity to share this for only 15 minutes. It wasn't recorded, so it's a great opportunity to share it to you, to the community. And if you're watching this live from Europe, good evening. I'm from Sweden. I'm delivering this live, and if you're watching this from the U.S. time zone, good morning or good afternoon to all of you. So I will be starting by sharing with you a bit about myself. So I'm Jonah Anderson. I am a senior Azure consultant at an IT consulting company called Solidify here in Sweden. I am known to be very active in the community as a Microsoft MVP for Azure for several years now. I'm also active as a Microsoft certified trainer and also a community lead in that community and the founder of Azure User Group Sweden. I also part of the Azure Tech Groups also. You can ask me virtually or in person if you find me in conferences about .NET development, cloud development, serverless, which is the topic that we have today, and cloud migration, and of course, Microsoft Azure, because it's a topic or cloud that I wrote a book about a year ago. So feel free to reach out to me and scan the QR to ask questions later on if we are not able to handle all of that within today or this session. Anyway, this is the photo actually when I was in Ignite during the theater session in Chicago. It was my first time to attend Ignite and first time also to deliver a theater session about this topic on serverless. So it was great. And thanks to those who attended and now giving the opportunity to those that weren't there. And now this time it's recorded. So today or tonight, I will be sharing with you how the synergy and power of cloud native on Azure fascinate me as someone working with it day to day as an IT consultant, as a developer, and even someone building cloud infrastructures for users or my clients at work. So I hope in the next 30 minutes or 1 hour with the questions, I'll be able to share with you a bit about Azure Functions and Azure Container Apps. At least the top 3 questions, which we often ask when we're learning something new. That is the what, the why. What are Azure Functions, Azure Container Apps? Why would you consider to combine using both of them? And how you can get started with it, regardless of your level. And to those who follows me on social media, on LinkedIn, or as an MVP, everyone knows that when I write content, by writing, by speaking, I always try to include everybody that is new in the technology. So if you're already advanced level in this topic and you've been developing Azure Container Apps with functions, please bear with me. I'm trying to be inclusive with everybody, and we can help each other with the chat questions as well, as since we are a community. So let's start. So to those of you that are pretty new in cloud native on Azure, You will, if it's new to you, I just want to introduce that it's a very huge ecosystem in Azure, and I love it, especially in the boom and enhancement of Azure cloud and also the AI technologies that came up for the past year. So if you're new, you can think of cloud native and Azure as different sections of it. So there's the community part of it where we can contribute and build using open source technologies. You can also think that cloud native is a package of a lot of amazing services for Microsoft technologies and even open source ones. So for development tools, you see that there's GitHub, there's Visual Studio or VS Code. There's a built-in security inside it, AI and machine learning tools that's very trending today that we built and integrate to build smart and intelligent apps. And also, of course, as you can see here, we have AKS, Azure Container Apps, and Azure Functions, which is part of the Azure Compute package of services. But here you do see the cloud native kind of like package it in these three great services when it comes to building containers and event-driven like applications on Azure. And these are like when I want to choose. I think there was one time that was asked, Jonah, what's your favorite Azure technologies? And I usually have first Azure Functions, Azure Container Apps, and then Azure Developer CLI, at least for the past years. But it's a great way for developers to get started and learn and build something new, even if you're just like a beginner. And then, of course, the data, the data systems or the storage systems in Azure, and also the power of hybrid cloud, Azure Arc, which I also speak about. I did speak recently. I think last month or a few weeks ago, I spoke in a conference and spoke about Azure Arc and the power of Azure Local in integrating them as well with the cloud native on Azure that we build, and also the on-premises like servers that we have that we can connect this to. So we're not limited. We got a lot of opportunities here to build something great, and that's what I'm excited about to share with you. So why Azure Functions on an Azure Container Apps? There is a lot of reasons for that, but first, let's learn what are Azure Functions. So Azure Functions is part of the Azure Compute. It allows you to focus on writing code using the major programming languages. For me as a developer, I prefer developing functions with C Sharp. But you can also develop serverless functions on Azure using Python, PowerShell, and other supported languages. And one of the things, or one of the extensions that I like for Azure Functions is the durable functions. As you can see here, I'm showing a few of the patterns. But if you worked with Azure Functions, I like utilizing durable functions because it allows you to write stateful workflows uh, in multiple events and different patterns depending on your use case. And then Azure Container Apps is also very great service because it also allows you to build apps on containers, like app service on containers. But this time, we have the opportunity to build Azure functions into the Azure containers. And if you're new to container development, in the beginner level in that part, just to give an overview. So, Container Apps is a service in Azure that allows you to containerize your apps, of course, as you can see here, but it's more typically used for microservices type of architecture, and it has support for Kata, Dapper, and any other cloud development tools or kind of use case that you might need. So, what are the top benefits when it comes to um, utilizing Azure Functions and Azure Container Apps? So, one of the things is the cloud native support, as you could see on the entire uh, previous slides that I shared here. The ecosystem of cloud native and Azure is pretty broad, and with the power of this like compute services such as Azure Functions and Container Apps, you're able to integrate many services along with it, as well as you're building your applications to be distributed and event driven depending on the case that you're trying to solve. So the cloud native support, and you do have the option to customize your workload using Azure Container Apps, which is suitable also if you have the Azure Functions in your Azure Container Apps that allows you to build workload profiles based on your preference for compute settings or configuration. Then you will be able to kind of like choose that specific profile for your instance of that service. And then dynamic scaling, serverless. I was just like working with my own projects, and we are working on making sure that we're programming something with scaling, and with dynamic scaling already built in on these services. It's a great feature because developers or those that needs to work on this doesn't have to create one. And then the option to have this polyglot and unified app management. So polyglot in a way that you're not limited to one thing or one programming language or one tool to integrate. So it's very flexible and diverse, which gives capability also to build more and integrate more because of this capability. And it has support for dedicated networking. Of course, networking is another topic because it depends on the tier that you have. But of course, observability and monitoring are important part, as well as security. These are just like top things that I'm sharing. So what is really is, I mean, Azure Functions on Container Apps, what is it really for, like, developers? It allows you developers to build something on a function app with the flexibility to also integrate and develop it with Azure Container Apps, with microservices, workflows, and any container type of development. And I added AI developers here in the description because of the new features also that came up, introduced during Microsoft Ignite. It kind of like provides the opportunity for those developing with AI tools and AI services on Azure to use Azure Functions and Container Apps with the development. So this was the announcement actually. So I showed this on at Ignite as well. While I was delivering this, they just released the book of news publicly at that time in November. But I'm resharing this again because probably some of you that are watching this is didn't know about this. So you can read the book of news by scanning the QR code. So top two of them, the topics, I mean, or the updates mentioned on Microsoft Ignite in terms of container apps. I'm combining the two technologies, Azure Functions and Azure Container Apps, because they two kind of they are synergized together when in relevance to hosting Azure Functions in the container apps. But the two new things that were interesting was the serverless GPU, which is, I believe, currently public preview, and then dynamic sessions as well. And this updates that was announced at Ignite, you can read more on the book of news. These updates are useful when it comes to developing AI technologies. And in details, for example, in serverless GPUs, it allows you to run AI workloads on demand. It has support of to scale to 0 GPUs for those that are using serverless for NVIDIA A100 and T4 GPUs. It has the option for per second billing, and also the capability to do optimize cold start, of course, depending on the tier that you have. There is still some limitations, and there are things that's still being built on this one. And then dynamic sessions, what is it? The term itself sounds like it explains itself. I mean, in my perspective, but in a development perspective, it allows you to run code and app that requires isolation from other workloads. And in terms of sessions, there are actually, I think, more than three that I listed out here. There is a few options such as like strong isolation, simple access, few fully managed, and you can read more about it on the Microsoft Learn. I won't deep dive into the details of dynamic sessions, since this is like a comprehensive, like technical overview of the of both worlds, but it exists, and it's a good feature if you have that need of isolation from other workloads with like different types of session needs. So in my perspective, I mean, I work as a developer, but I also have a hat of being the lead of cloud infrastructure team in my project. And it's not just about like pushing your application code.net to the cloud and you build something cloud native. There's a lot of puzzle of pieces when you're doing cloud development, in my perspective, and I'm sure you can relate as well. Aside from working with different teams and working with different ideas together and solving problems together, cloud native development is using the tools that empowers you and your team, and at the same time it allows you to be productive. And one of the tools that I like to use is the Azure Developer CLI in terms of deploying applications to the deploying Azure resources to Azure in a way that you have this shared workspace together. So currently I'm working, I supposed to show a Azure Developer CLI demo with Azure Functions and Container Apps, but I'm not done with that template because I have been busy speaking at conferences lately and work. But I'm just like sharing the opportunity that instead of you deploying it manually, you can also utilize Azure CLI or Azure Developer CLI automation in Azure resources deployment, your app code for cloud native development, regardless of whatever language you prefer to use to build Azure functions on container apps. That is a good combo. And the power of Azure in terms of other services like security, implementing monitoring, implementing AI tools with your app, and also .NET, which is one of my favorite languages. So I do believe that it allows you to build powerful cloud native apps. And you might be wondering, Jonah, you're talking a lot of theory here. How can we use these things? So one of the documented, this is from Microsoft Learn, so I'm kind of like referencing all the information that I have based on my own experience, and also what is also like use case that are being presented publicly. So you can build, one of use cases you can use or you can build Azure functions with container apps if you want to deploy it into the container apps with things like use case of Azure OpenAI and machine learning kind of scenarios. So here you can see on this like example diagram, you can also check it out in Microsoft Learn. So you do have a function app that runs during chat prompt. It has an integration, so front end for Azure Static Web Apps. And then it uses the OpenAI chat assistants. Another function here that gets triggered based on actions, and it's integrated with Docker, and it's gonna do its microservices within Azure Container Apps to perform the tasks in that like trigger or event. And then the next one, another possible use case. This is just a simple example, but use case can be unique depending on what you're trying to solve. But here you can also use it for real-time events and stream. Like for example, you have an app and device trying to produce data, and then you can utilize the event hubs. And from the event hubs, you have the function app that processes the data and sends that data to a Cosmos DB account. And then you can do some visualization or reporting with that through a reporting tool such as maybe Power BI and other related tools. And then scheduled tasks. I know that in Azure Functions, I tried most of the triggers. So if you work with it, there's a timer trigger that you can use for scheduling. There's an HTTP trigger, the blob, service bus. I believe there's a KDA trigger also. A lot of triggers. And one of the things that we actually demand in a real use case or project is scheduling tasks that allows us to automate things, and functions or serverless is very useful to that. So in this example, we have a scheduled task to clean up a database for any like duplicate maybe. That happens sometimes if someone in your application clicks twice or twice because the internet is slow. So you can run a job to clean up your database and schedule it every 15 minutes or depending on how often you want to schedule it. And then, of course, one of my favorite extension of Azure Functions, durable functions, allows you to write stateful workflows and even sub orchestration within an orchestration. So it allows you to build that. Of course, it's already there, but you can utilize this stateful orchestration with these different patterns inside an Azure container app. So probably there's not so many like examples for like tutorials or quick start, but I do see a potential of different use cases that you can build with Azure durable functions orchestration patterns to solve different event scenarios, and then put it inside Azure container apps, which is also another powerful deployment like service to deploy the functions to. So, uh, to those that are curious, is it like developer friendly and enterprise friendly? And yes, it is. I don't know so many like in my personal like experience. I have not implemented it in my project yet, but I'm going to, if you see a use case for this, I'm definitely gonna like recommend it to my project. So I'm in the process of convincing and finding ways to implement this. When you know what it can do, then you can use it to solve that specific problems. But it is already there are for sure like enterprises that are using this. It is already enterprise ready, and it's developer friendly in a way that there's like guides from the Microsoft Learn. And also both, I know the Azure Functions team and the container apps product teams are very active in making these services updated all the time, and I'm active in like learning what's new in both of them, and utilizing it myself, and also sharing to the community. So I'm going to try to do a quick demo. I think I passed a bit of my time, but I do have time for demo and questions later. Let me just switch my screen, maybe. Let's see, stop screen and present, share other screen. Let's see. I hope, okay, that's the right one. Okay. All right, yes, that's the right one. Okay, so first I'm gonna try to, let's see. I'm gonna try to First, create the function app, the Azure Functions on Azure Container Apps, how you would do it in Azure Portal. And depending on the time, probably I'll just show you an example of how you would do that if you had your own like quick start or own container image. During at Ignite, I didn't have actually the chance to do this demo because I only had 15 minutes on stage and it was like very speedy. But I at least I have a few minutes now to share a bit of demo on yours, so we can do some questions if there's any. So let me just, I actually prepared already a resource group. So a resource group I called resource group RG MS Reactor 2025 Azure Functions on Container App demo. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna like assuming the reason why I want to show Azure Functions on Azure Portal, because part of what I want to share, especially those that are new to this, the different kinds of hosting options that there is available for you that want to utilize function apps for serverless or event driven type of scenarios. So when you're building one, you do have the option for flex consumption. Consumption, the premium type app service, I know that you can run that as well. And then this is the one that we're talking about in focus today in this session. But there is other hosting plans that you can consider also if you have a different kind of needs. But here you do see the different hosting plan in terms of the different categories, so scaling to zero, the behavior, the networking support, and also the dedicated compute as well as the max scale out. So if you can see and compare them side by side, I really liked that kind of like illustration when you see the big picture, because if you, I'm gonna show you right away the Azure Developer CLI or something, creating it using CLI commands in the Cloud Shell. If you're new, you wouldn't understand what's the difference of this. Um, so when it comes to like creating container apps environment, Azure Functions in a container apps environment, you do have a lot of good things in terms of scaling to zero, the support for event driven with Kata, and primarily maybe that's the reason why many considers also adding it in container apps. You have the support for virtual networking, optional for minimum replicas, and then max scale out for 300. So I'm going to choose that. And then I already prepared a user group. I mean, sorry, a resource group. Sorry, I'm hosting a user group myself. Then I'm mixing it up. So function and MS Reactor 2025 is demo function on ACA demo live. The last time I did live demo, it failed. So I hope, I mean, this is a simple one. Okay. So I have this like option. So what I'm trying to do is I'm putting in a function app inside my resource group in Sweden Central, where I am from, or very close to me. And I'm putting it inside an Azure uh, like app environment. So I can choose the one that is like default if I want to, and then I can create also a new one if I want. So I can do okay. Maybe I can just like use the one I had. Sorry. So I can use the one that I have as default. I can choose to create a storage account. So if you're building Azure Functions, storage account is default because that's where you have your instances, logs, and everything that you can manage, and also like code logically if you want to like like customize it yourself. And then you would have the monitoring part. I would recommend to enable app insights for like monitoring, very important, especially when you're trying to debug. But here is the key part when it comes to like building the container for Azure Functions. So normally, if you do it in Azure portal, you do it like the click way, but you can create it the infrastructure using Azure CLI or Azure Developer CLI, or even infrastructure as code using Bicep or Terraform as a way to have this repeatable deployment on the cloud infrastructure. But when it comes to like building Azure Function app on container apps, if you're someone that's just new to this and I want to learn whatever is the quick start image that was supported by the community or Azure team or function apps team, then you can just like use that one. There's actually a sample container already. The last time I did this, it was .NET 7, so they did update the image to be .NET 8. And then you can have the default consumption as like one workload profile of consumption, the CPU core, and then the memory of that. And if you don't want to do the quick start because you already like have done that and you have something to deploy, it's a real project and it's being used by users in production, for example, or a project that's going to be there, you can choose to have your own public container here, or you can have your public ones in which you will have to write in your registry for your container image. You can host it in Azure Container Registry, or or if it's not Azure ACR, you can have the login server from the other party as well, a username, password. And here is the part where you could choose your workload profile. I didn't set any workload profile because I'm just like doing a demo how to create this. But if you had a workload profile, you would be able to see that customize like Jonah's workload profile. And then you will be able to customize it based on how much CPU and memory that you want to use it for per profile. So it would show more drop down here if I had more of that. So I'm just like doing uh, the the creation here. And I can choose to download the template for automation if I want to redeploy it later in different ways. For that, let's see. Did I see? I miss. Oh, I'm sorry. I supposed to do the quick start. Sorry. Let's see. Okay. Let's see what. Did I click too much? Okay. Oh, there's maybe it didn't work. Wait, sorry. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna use the one that I had the backup. Okay, let's see. I was testing this earlier. We have questions so far. No. Let's see. Okay, let me just go back. What was wrong? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna create a new one. Okay. Reactor 2025, like demo. Okay, right. Next. I had a test a managed environment earlier when I was testing, so it looks like it didn't like what I registry. Maybe because I was tabbing in between different. Okay. Let's try this. Otherwise, I have a backup screenshot that I reserved in case my live demo doesn't work. I learned okay, yes. So it is deploying right now, and while it is deploying, I want to like utilize my time on this live session to also share about like this learning path. I mean, there's a blog actually about serverless GPUs and Azure Container Apps. So I would, if you're curious about like serverless GPUs, feel free to check it out. Especially if you have like if you have a use case that want to use this like GPU kind of development with it, and typically for using and developing with Azure AI models. So I recommend this one. I will show it at the end of my presentation. And then if you're someone that is like want to learn, like I'm a type of person that I can show you the theory, but I want to learn by doing and make mistakes and try it out, just like what I'm trying to do right now live, but a bit different when you're doing the presentation. But there is a tutorial, a walkthrough tutorials, at least one for now, for serverless GPU that's currently in preview that allows you to build one. So it has a guide inside here. So I recommend you to check it out if you want to generate images using GPUs on Azure Container Apps. And then you can also use Azure Developer CLI in terms like building infrastructure or cloud resources on Azure. So one of my favorite tool to use is the templates of Awesome ACD or Developer CLI. If you're new to this, there's a filter for AI collection. If you want to build with AI using the template, it's here. But you can also choose your favorite language like .NET, and then the type of framework that you want to use, as well as the services on Azure. So let's just say you want to build for Azure Functions. I'm gonna help build the template of Azure Functions to Azure Container Apps one of these days, at least in .NET. But here is an open source kind of templates that you can use and utilize as well. So let me just see how my demo works. So it's still thinking. So I think I'm almost out of time when it comes to presentation. So I'm gonna just like wait for this. And while it's waiting, uh, I want to share this repo, Azure Functions on Container Apps by the Azure Functions team. It's a good guide, and it helped me as well learn more about how to develop Azure Functions and Container Apps. And here, if you search on GitHub, you'll find it. And I also have a link. And here you will be able to see what Azure Functions on Container Apps is, how it helps you, in what scenarios you can utilize it, as well as what are the triggers that are being used that you can use with Azure Functions when you want to deploy it to an Azure Container Apps. So here there's like limitations, very good guide in my perspective, and for sure it will be more improved and developed. But here, if you're someone that's like want to learn step by step, so you have the guide in terms of like what to do first, and then what programming languages that you are going to build, the prerequisite on your computer. So here for C Sharp, you need to have at least the latest .NET, the Docker, Azure Container Registry. I usually have them locally as well. And then the latest core tools, the Azure CLI, and also, of course, Azure account. And there's a lot of steps. That's why it's not easy to demo this live, like with just like 30 minutes. So, but I'm sending out the link to you so you can follow through on this one. And if you see issues, of course, you can put in the issues there. Okay, let's see if my deployment is done. So when it's done, I'm just gonna show you how it looks, and then I'm just gonna finalize it. So the quick start template has an HTTP trigger. So as you can see, it has the HTTP trigger as an example. So I can invoke it, test and run using like the common ways how we do it when we develop. So I can just like call this function and trigger it, but I don't need to do that because I'm just like showing this to you. And let me just see. Uh, Here you will be able to see the options that you have in terms of the function app. So you have the option to edit, of course, what you have set up using the quick start. Let's just say you want to put it the image size to your own. You can set it up here. You can also later on add in your workload profiles and set up your image settings and also your scale rules. Identity, you can also set it up here. Your Doppler integration, which is a new feature, you can enable it. And here, you need to put in your app ID and other configuration you might need for that. But by default, it is disabled. So a lot of like default Azure type of settings that you can do in terms of apps insights, monitoring, and a lot of things. But I think that's all that I will demo for now. Let me just switch to my presentation. See that one. All right, so almost out of time. Or I think I went over time. Okay, so that was the demo that I supposed to show if nothing worked on the demo. But let me just go forward. Let me see. So I want to share also a bit about monitoring. So there's a feature actually that you can integrate .NET Aspire, and there's a dashboard for that. And also, if you want to add containers in your app service environments, you can also do that. So a lot of things. I've been having fun making mistakes and demo not working, but I highly encourage you to learn by doing. And in order to do that, reading and hands-on are required. So read more using this QR code. There's a good tutorials that I shared that is also good if you're curious. And I know that there's a lot of like quick starts also on both sides of the documentation of Azure Functions and container apps. And the GitHub repo that I showed you, that is available also in this one. And that's where you will see a lot of examples for Azure Functions and also Azure Functions on container apps. And I want to end and by finalizing that if you're a developer, build the synergy when you code for cloud, not just like building with one programming languages, but have the flexibility of using cloud native tools that I shared, a few of them, major ones, and also utilizing Azure AI tools that are very hot and trending today. It's very exciting times, but develop it smartly, but also think about the responsible use of AI, such as security and educating the users of your app in terms of using it. But that's all for me. I appreciate your time and feel free to connect with me on that QR code or my social media if you have questions or a feedback later on. Thank you so much.